There's things like when the router went down, we had to replace the routers again, the emergent, things we had to get right away, they ended up.
And those would come out of.
Were
the
reimbursements to
expense
me,
as
yeah.
well.
Okay.
But we can itemize those reimbursements. I think it's probably order of $4,000 worth of hardware that was in that 54,000, which mostly is labor. So that one stands alone. It's not in this other fee report, but I don't know. Did you have this has been handed out?
Yeah,
to everybody?
no, this is excellent.
So well, Mary did it. This is
Mary,
Mary.
if you could do that every time,
Isn't that great?
because you're right, a lot of Al's charges are kind of hidden in there.
Well, one thing that 68,962 on the Union Pacific is 100% reimbursement.
I was gonna say, the asterisks are wrong there, right? Or
Yeah, it should be down two. It should be down two numbers farther. It should be on the total. It doesn't include the reimbursable items.
Yeah.
This is because the reimbursable items are offset in the budget, which makes it even more complicated for you guys to understand. There, it's a separate because the accountants want us to keep it separate. Obviously, in the accounting chart of accounts, you want it to be not rolled up. You want it to have more detail so they can properly account for it in the different categories like reimbursements. So that makes it difficult for us to analyze. So that's why she's rolling it up in this one as opposed to at the account level. So.
Well, if it's not too hard, Mary, this makes it a little easier on us. On us guys, he said, okay?
Doesn't it?
You want me to go ahead and provide this on a monthly basis?
If you could, please, because this makes it a lot, for those of us that are not CPAs.
Or engineers.
The dumb farmers, okay? Good for the dumb farmers.
Actually, the engineer couldn't figure it out either, so.
All right, anything else regarding budget?
I'd just like to point out at the bottom, if you all will look at what the actuals are to date and what the projected expenses are and how we've got a $9.2 million budget, but we're projecting 8.6. So we're looking at it, Mary's looking at it, we meet with our supervisors occasionally to make sure that everything's in line, so I just wanted to point that out.
I noticed that you're, maybe I'm correct what the lingo is, but on the administrative, the licensing fees and so forth, you are ahead of schedule on the revenues. Am I correct in stating that? And that was a revenue maker,
On
Mr. Allen.
From engineering,
We were actually.
No, it's, like on the license.
Well, that's not an expense, that's in the others.
we've gotten more dewatering projects than we expected. We've done some other.
Yeah, we just need to be careful. I'll have to look back to it. That we've got a separate account for the holding funds.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
not included. So yeah, I know that our holding fund's pretty large.
Oh, it's like an escrow, but this month, the country club dewatering finish, which is about $250,000, that we actually, we moved it from escrow into the bank account, and then we invoiced 50,000 that was lacking. They deposited 200, so we invoiced 50,388 that was, that they dewatered additionally. So they finally wrapped that guy up, and then we've got, we have two more that have come on board, additional dewaterings for some construction projects down here in the valley.
And the city did reimburse us on all
That's right.
Jay's and Rick's time from the country club project to no. I don't remember the total, Mary, do you remember?
There's still an invoice pending.
Yes.
But we received what?
Well, we've invoiced.
60-something thousand reimbursed.
And all that is reflected on the balance sheet as well as the cash flow under the revenue.
They haven't done the close
No,
out.
not right, yeah, we've not invoiced the remainder, the project's going to close April 17th, so.
We need to think of, along with Gail, what he's talked to me about in previous board meetings, that, that sort of was an abnormality that we saw this year, but we're seeing it more and more common, and we're actually, according to the board's request, we've now incorporated additional deposits that we made under construction that we bill against.
Right.
So we need to, Mary and I, when we do this budget this year, we may need to change the chart account to reflect a new type of reimbursement that we can track better, because, for example, that 110,000, 60 of it was a damaged, right? So that wasn't in the budget, that was a damage to our stuff that we, some point in your $500 report, you saw all that, new concrete, new forms and everything that we paid for, wasn't in the budget at all. We probably need to think about having a contingency budget.
So that we can understand.
Yeah, and then that would be that contingency when it's possible, which we hope 99% of the time would be billed against a reimbursement. We balance it with a reimbursement account, so that we can show that, because that 110 was not budgeted. It just happened. It's a good thing we got reimbursed, but if it's appropriate, we need to anticipate that. And there is an additional, it's gonna go, hopefully not across the fiscal, will be an additional invoice on that. But, and we'll give you a little bit of update on some of the related costs when we get to the construction project.
Well, I appreciate it, y'all done a good job too, Troy, like you're saying there, I didn't see that tooting the horn stuff on the agenda, but I think you
That's what I'm
deservedly.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say.
You're doing real well.
Well, thanks, and it's all, you know, not just me or Mary, it's the whole
It's
staff.
everybody.
The management, they all pitch in, and we look for the best equipment at the best price that'll save the taxpayer.
And it was a wonderful deal. Okay, and pray for rain, I read it too. Okay, number 5 here, we're going on to,
Yes, ma'am.
oh, excuse me,
There needs to be approval on the budget amendment.
on the budget amendment.
Well, they might wanna wait until we come back out of executive, so
So
we
we-
have all the information on the computer security.
Oh, yeah, we have that, here. Okay, remind me of that. All right, we need this later on. Okay. Anything else before I put Rose on the hot seat here? No? All right, Rose, it's all yours.
Good morning.
Good morning. Rose, I see you thought we didn't have enough paper yet.
That's a handout, that's a special surprise.
Oh, a special.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's go ahead and cover February first.
Okay.
We're looking at the tax reporting adjustments.
In February, right?
Yes, sir. We have one adjustment, one tax adjustment. This property, it's known as tract 9, it was subdivided. Portion of it is Clint Palm subdivision and also Rio Bravo subdivision. On tract 9, on our records, we show 9200 as a county road. So as we were setting up the subdivision, we have to break it down. Acreage goes to the 2 subdivisions, and that 9200 goes into a county road, which is tax exempt. It was miscoded, so therefore it created a $12 accounting service fee.
Okay. Back to the county. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's the only-
And was that it in February?
Yes, sir. for the-
Normally, do we approve these adjustments 1 month at a time? Does it matter? You wanna adjust it right now? Do I hear a motion to approve that adjustment?
So moved.
Mary
Second.
and Indar seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the next page.
Yes, sir. This is the 2013 and 14 and 2015 public service board assignments. To date, we have 740 leases representing $74,000 in processing fees and collected in delinquent taxes $22,123.40. And this is the project that we're working with public service for. We're going on our 3rd year now.
That's great.
It's been very successful.
See, every little bit helps.
Yes, sir.
You might mention, Rose, for information purposes only, that we have met with Lower Valley, and Johnny would be glad to hear this, that they're finally coming on board to do the same thing.
We met with Lower Valley Water District on the 27th of March, and they want to come aboard and see what public service board is doing, because it has been a very good program, it's been successful, and basically they want to mirror what they're doing. And we did inform them as far as sending out postcards, letters, having public meetings. Of course, we have also joined in the effort, and they seem very anxious.
So they're getting closer to coming on board. That'd be great. That'd be
One
great.
thing is, with public service board, we accept leases year-round, same thing with Lower Valley Water District, but they didn't pursue, well, they're gonna start doing that. So year-round, we'll be receiving leases from Lower Valley Water.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. You wanna do your tax comparison rows on that month, or you wanna
Yes.
go
Let's
over
go ahead
it?
and continue with February.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, closing. We are at 93.867%. If you look below, I do not have a percentage. This is when we were working on the reconstruction of our software, but I do have an amount for the year prior to that, which is 2012. And we were at 92.2994, so we have collected more. And I'm gonna work on those 2 months for you guys, so you can have a percentage.
Okay.
It's gonna have to be done manually, but I already started working on it, so I can give you an exact percentage each month.
Okay, very good.
Our next report here we have is our tax suits. And this is for information purposes also. And we've been working very closely with the law firm of Lineberger, Golding, Spencer, Perez. And one thing that the board asks is, let's get those taxes that have been non-suited or released or closed, remove them from the list. So what we're gonna do is be working with a law firm. We're gonna remove 73 which have been non-suited. We have 7 that have been closed or released. We have 14 that have been sold through tax sale. That's a total of 94 that will be removed from this list.
In the coming month.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. And then just for, again, there were 6 accounts that the water rights were transferred to the Public Service Board, 4 to Lord Valley Water District. Now, those doesn't mean that they were going to be removed. It just means that the taxes are paid, water rights are leased, but doesn't mean that the suit has been released.
Okay.
And that's all I have for February.
All right. Let's go on to March. You're looking out here, brother. I don't see a lot of adjustments on March either.
It's getting better, isn't it? Okay, we got 2 adjustments for the month of March. The first one also, is the coding. The water rights have been leased to the El Paso Public Service Board. This is prior to Isleta ISD owning the property. Well, that lease has expired. It was for 50 years. And the coding did not get changed from a PSD lease to a tax exempt entity. So therefore, it created a tax assessment, an accounting service fee, and a penalty interest. So the adjustment on this account would be $17.18 for the tax year 2014.
Okay.
The second one we have is under Lujan. The property was under the ownership of the El Paso County as trustee. The property was sold. Therefore, the property loses its exemption and becomes taxable. So we need to assess 279 days for the tax year 2012, all of 2013, and all of 2014. The adjustment on this case, the tax assessment is $7.93, and accounting service charge of $12, for a total of $19.93.
Okay, now the only thing I see on that one, Rose, the owner name is different from the name you named there in your little description.
Yeah, because the property was sold, it was under the County of El Paso's trustee,
Okay?
and now it belongs to Maria Teresa Lujan.
Okay. Not Jorge Gonzalez.
Jorge Gonzalez.
That's a small little detail there. The name on the adjustment that I'm
Oh, I'm
looking at,
sorry, yes, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll take care of that.
which is the property, the Lujan?
Lujan, yes, sir.
Okay. Maria Tomasa Lujan.
Maria Tomasa Lujan, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, and that's the proper name right over there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve these tax adjustments in March for the 2, one to the Isleta Independent, which will be a credit, and 1 charge to Maria Tomasa Lujan?
Yes, sir.
Indar moves. Second. Larry seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed signify by the same sign. All right, motion approved.
Now we have the 2013, 2014, and 15 public service board assignments. Today we have 750 leases representing $75,000 in processing fees. Total amount collected, $22,309.73. And just to give you an insight, we expect to get 2 subdivisions coming in from the public service board in a few months. So this number will be increasing quite a bit.
Okay. That's good.
On the tax comparison, April, we were at 95.5872%. Again, I do not have an April 2013, but I do have an April 2012 for you. We were at 94.7338%, and I know at 95.5872%.
So we're ahead.
Yes, sir.
Good.
We got on the phone.
Good.
We really did.
That's wonderful.
All property owners.
Yeah. You're even ahead of May of last year.
There you
Okay,
go.
very good.
Yes, we noticed that. And then we have our tax suits.
Is this our new paper?
Yeah, this is coming up, yes, sir. So from February to March, we have 3 additional accounts paid. We have, I think it's 229 with 322. But I give you a handout, and we look at the last 2 columns. This includes the acreage and where the property is located as far as the grant and the community ditch. This information will help us. It's going to be a guide whether we can refer those properties to Lower Valley or Public Service Board. Before we do the water
Okay.
rights. So I'm gonna say I'm about 75–80% complete, and we'll start contacting those 2 entities, Public Service Board and Lower Valley Water District.
Okay.
And you'll see some in here, they'll say Upper Valley O, C11 means outside city limits, so they would not be able to lease the water rights to Public Service Board. They have to be within the city limits.
Okay, but they can lease them to the Lower Valley,
And that's
no?
Lower Valley within the Socorros and the Decided Grants, and Public Service Board, Upper Valley Survey, lands are within the city limits, and Selena and what we call Serial, like a Foxglove area, downtown area.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know that.
And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much, Rose.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You're doing good work. Good work. Okay, item 6, general manager's report.
Okay, on item A, we passed out a organizational chart with the new changes that you all wanted on there. Mostly it was the realignment to make the space for the chief financial officer.
Okay.
And Lisa and Mary worked with Mr. Stubbs on this, and we made a couple of changes yesterday with Mr. Ivy, and so we need you all to look at it, and we'll need the board approval, so Lisa can get it filed in there.
Well, you guys haven't looked at that and see what you think, and then I'll entertain a motion when you have a chance to read it.
What did you change it?
We changed Mary's
CFO.
CFO. She reports directly to the board, and then reports to me. Mr. Stubbs wanted a connection to me, just so when she has to report for, you know, taking vacation or time off or any other thing.
HR falls under, in line with everybody, right? Is that
Yes, it's a separate,
has it always been like that, or is it?
yes. And she also handles our special projects, the tire project that goes out seeking local grant money, and that's part of her duties.
And the computer system.
And the computer system.
And anything else?
We just camera operator, we just.
We call her. We call her.
Well, it just seems like the only thing she's handling is the custodian.
Well, no, and then she's got those special projects and safety.
Yeah, we probably.
You're so humble, you know, just custodian.
She also handles our safety program.
All the difficult things we get, Rick,
Dog walker.
I would think so. Yeah. The way I see that line. Yeah, she has a motorcycle carriage.
So basically, the way I look at this is that the purchasing department directly
Falls under Mary.
falls under the mayor.
Yes. And the
Works
workhouse.
out. Anything has to do with purchasing,
Anything with control, we added the fuel clerk, because she keeps up with the fuel. That's one of our big expenses, so we put it under Mary.
I don't think so. What do you guys think?
seems pretty consistent with the last
All right.
previous.
The main changes put is our new chief financial officer.
Well, I don't know what inherent effect legally this chart has on the activities district. You know, it's just like all these things that Rosie was presenting to you, it's just for your information. It's an informational chart.
Yeah, it's more like an, and they call it an organizational chart. I'm not sure if the board needs to approve this. Do you think it does?
Yes, you all approved the
We
last.
approve an organizational chart. Okay.
Yes, then Mr. Stubbs wanted it to come to the board and.
Okay, just
and
trying to
for
figure it out.
approval.
Well, if that's the case, and of course, we can always change it.
Policy.
No, it's just an organizational,
But it does go into the policy manual.
That's what I was thinking, it's a policy.
so it is a
So
policy. Okay,
it's an amendment or an update to the policy.
okay.
That makes sense.
So in which case, we could entertain a motion. Anybody?
If nobody has any objections, I move we approve this.
All right. And Dara makes the motion.
I'll second.
And Larry seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone?
To be substituted in
For
for the
the-
policy manual.
Yes, in replacement of the old.
Right.
Any of those opposed signify by saying no. Okay. Approved. Dated as of April 8th, 2015. Very good. Okay, Judy.
Okay. Item B, we'll start off, I know there'll be several items to discuss for the moment, I'd like your all's approval that we're making the suggestion that we release on May 26th, make a water release from the Caballo Dam, and water arriving here in the El Paso vicinity around June 1. We've coordinated with the Bureau of Reclamation, with EPCWID, with Mexico, and ourselves, and everybody's on board. EPCWID has, just so you know, EPCWID has announced that they are going to release May the 11th for the hatch area, and then they'll wait and release on the 26th for the Mesilla area, along with us.
You don't mean
Array Canal, and they only have one canal for that, Rincon Valley.
Right.
yeah, that's the early.
Yeah, they're only 30 minutes away from they're 2.3 miles.
Yeah, they're right there. Say those dates again, though, I've got them jumped.
26 for us,
The
and
26th.
arrival on the 1st.
Okay,
May 11th for Array, for EPCWID,
okay.
and then they'll join in with us on the 26th for the Mesilla, Las Cruces area, for all the rest.
And Upper Valley, Robert, Upper Valley should come on around June 1st too, right?
Yeah, that's how it happened last year.
The travel time from Mesilla on the river and in the canal is
Okay.
not the same.
Okay.
A little slower in the canal.
We did.
Okay, so we're still looking June 1 here, but we're gonna get on the release officially the 27th?
The 26th.
26th?
Yes.
We may get the water, if we get it any earlier, it's gonna be trash control issues and driving the system.
We did get it last year by the 31st, but we started allotment on the 1st.
Yeah.
All right. And it's been, as far as our allotment, it's down in here under what, Rio Grande Compact County, or?
It's under there's an allotment, actual item is a separate item on the second page, but
Okay.
it's all related, so.
All right.
Is it gonna be out of this world to, why don't we release it on the 11th? Is that gonna come to-
Well, that's what we're to discuss today. I mean, we haven't we've gotta get these numbers back to them,
Our-
our target numbers, and we'll discuss five.
Our recommendation is that we release on the 26th, to have water here around June 1 because of, and that way we can go into the hot months and have sufficient water,
To extend it to September.
right, to go into September.
Right.
We'll cover the small tracks, I know that's,
That's
your
my concern.
your question will
My
be.
concern is
but-
the small track.
Right, Robert and I have been working on a schedule with Kathy and coordinating that, and we were just waiting on the allocation, final allocation yesterday. We are at 128,000 acre feet for ourselves. Elephant Butte has 115,000.
Plus all the groundwater.
And Mexico has 22,000.
Yeah, you always have to remember that Elephant Butte has that plus about 250,000 acre feet of groundwater.
But we're only releasing it 2 weeks or a week and a half earlier.
Let me clarify the EBID. The reason the EBID can do what they're doing and it doesn't affect the project is that from Caballo Dam to Percha Dam is 2.3 miles, and it's in bedrock, pretty much solid rock.
Right.
There's a little bit of sediment above the rock, but it doesn't leak very much at all. It doesn't seep very much. There's a little bit of consumptive use, but not very much. EBID pays for that. So they basically is a pipeline straight to their canal, so it has no impact on the entire project, and it's worked out that that's better, because we get the Rincon guys sort of, last year they caused some difficulty in scheduling and some things, so it actually should smooth out the river by doing it this way. And so we're in 100% agreement with allowing them to start a little earlier up there, because there's no impact on the project.
Now, did I understand though, then they cut off again and then come back on?
No.
EBID?
No.
No, once they're on and the 11th, they're on.
No, this is just for
This
is
is
only a
just-
special condition to make the river more manageable that EBID came up with for the Rincon Valley, and we agree with it
Okay.
as an operational change. We need them to come on the same time as us, because when they'll go off earlier than us. That means we'll pay for the entire losses on the river for the time that they go off. We would like to run to September 15th. They will probably only run to July 15th, maybe July 30th.
Yeah, they're talking about a 50-day release, they'll run out of water.
Right, but my question was, if they do this little early release on May 11th, they're on from then on, or do they go back off? It's just a short little release?
No.
No?
Okay, I'm not doing a good job
They
explaining.
release.
I'm not to my eye.
They release for the hatch area, for the array.
Just for that, yes.
Okay, they'll come on the 11th and stay on until,
Oh, but they're not
Until they're
gonna release water.
right,
Okay,
but
there's 2.3 miles
Okay.
between the dam and the diversion point for the for the Rincon Valley, which has the town of Hatch in it, which is the Ray Canal and the Percha Dam. Those are all synonyms, they mean the same thing.
Right.
So that's like a pipe. It's
Yeah.
just, it's very
It is a
little
pipe,
losses.
yeah.
So they want to bring that system online earlier for operational reasons that help us.
Okay.
Help the entire river. There's no river losses. There'll be some minor return flow that they don't get credit for, that actually will help down the road with some of the losses, so that's good. So there's a bunch of little small things, so that's like a separate, unique unit up there
Right.
that operate without impacting the rest of us.
Okay.
Then when we're ready to come on, we all come on at the same time, the rest of the system, which does impact us. We prime the river, the rest of the 110 miles. And we prime all the dams, Leesburg Dam, Mesilla Dam, American Dam. They all go in, start putting water east side, west side, Leesburg canals, bring the system up.
26.
Bring our guys online in the upper valley, bring you guys online in the lower valley, all around June 1st.
Okay.
And that's almost identical to what we've done the last 2 years. The only change is this early release for the Rincon Valley, which will actually help us.
right, which they did last year.
Oh, yeah, they did a little bit early, but
Right.
not, it was, anyways, we've got, I think
So the dilemma is that we're to move to 11th, we're the only ones on the river, so it's gonna cost us a ton.
Exactly.
So why is it that we don't just convince
No, no.
everybody else to get on the 11th?
we could, but then we won't be able to make our budget, and we'll end up spending much more water, in terms of, our efficiency will drop off.
Now, keep in mind that we've been talking to a lot of farmers, a lot of water users, and these are the dates that we feel more comfortable can help everybody. if we start irrigating June 1 and extend it into September, it'll help the cotton farmer, it'll help the pecan farmer.
And the cities.
The city of El
It's a
Paso.
huge impact for them
Right.
too. These are all things, our goal is to get into September, and if we early release, there's the potential that our losses, our charges will go way up. I don't, that's a legal thing, we'd have to get into that. I'm not prepared because I think EPAD's got some positions in the agreement that they could say that they don't have to pay for losses and we have to pay for them. We've got some positions we could say the other way around. But we avoid that whole legal argument with, and we've been able to avoid it with a joint release for everything but the Rincon Valley. And so they want to come on with the rest of theirs to match theirs on June 1st. City wants June 1st.
Okay.
The bulk of the people want June. Robert, you speak to this. You talk to everybody. Most people want it later rather than earlier, right?
They were to have it later, in the sense that cotton doesn't want water till the 15th of June. Those guys are more concerned of getting water till September. Pecan people also want that last irrigation in September. May is pretty well dead.
I thought pecan farmers want water whenever they can get it.
Well, that's true too.
We actually do.
True, but it's more important
Come
towards
on,
the
Robert.
end. It's more important towards the end than I mean, you get the Upper Valley farmers, they prefer you don't release till July because they're like 15 days behind the lower valley in cotton.
But we have to keep in mind the city of El Paso, the small tracts, which are a loud voice,
Yes.
and
Yeah, we have to balance with
Right.
all those people.
So last year it worked great, releasing the way we released. We are meeting the same dates as we did last year.
No,
But we have a little bit more water, which will take us into September, and hopefully maybe the end of September.
and if history repeats itself, the way I've read the last couple of years of drought, we plan for plan for the worst.
We're very conservative.
Very conservative, as it turns out, we've succeeded in actually allowing more waterings, and which is something that we did diligently. And 2 years in a row, I guess, I'm on the premise that, we're conservative at the end of the day. As a small tract, we're, at one time when water was plentiful, we were getting water in February, but now we're in June. My constituents are not getting the water, they're getting it 3 months later, which is, we're okay with it as long as it's consistent, but if we're getting more waterings at the end on a consistent basis, I'm having to answer to my constituents, why are we putting off all this, why are you getting more waterings? It's a double-edged sword. You get more waterings, then you say, well, why couldn't we start earlier?
Because we gotta look at the whole picture and do what's best for everyone. And we're not gonna satisfy everybody, but we've got to go with the highest percentage. And we feel that comfortable that, that we can better serve all our constituents by following this schedule.
Yeah, and I think it's easy, and we're way ahead of my presentation and numerical analysis that shows all this in Robert's presentation, so I guess we're moving all these items to right now, but I'm pretty sure this is very likely, that if we were to start early, right now, I'm gonna recommend that we do 5 irrigations for small tract, and we've got those, and we think that's very doable. We think we're gonna get you guys a 6th one. We think we're gonna get extra water for the farm, because we're conservative, and the reason why we're conservative is very common sense, is that to do a negative allocation on small tracts and on the city and on the farmers would be disastrous. It would be financially disastrous, it would be legally disastrous, politically disastrous, all those things. So we always have to make sure that we're conservative, and then as we get closer towards the end of the year, then we do the allocation. So we always have to err on the side of being conservative. So if we were to release early, I could tell you right now that you won't get the 6th irrigation. It won't happen, because my efficiencies are gonna all go down. The amount of water that we're gonna be delivering early on is gonna be much less, so I have less to spread it over. I'm gonna have greater seepage rates, because by going to the end, that's when the river seeps the least, which is one of the good things of the operating agreement. When we go on by ourselves, or just us in Mexico, the seepage rates are at the lowest of the whole year. But if we do it the other way around, the seepage rates are astronomically high in EPID. And the reason they are is because of groundwater pumping, that's the whole reason for the operating agreement. So it could help, you could tell the small tracks, yes, we could release early, but they'd probably get less water if we did. Well, I guarantee they get less water.
Al, if you, and let me rephrase that, if the El Paso district has a disagreement with the Elephant View district, the decider as to what will actually operationally done is the Bureau, is that not correct?
It's, see, Dan House, it goes, and here we haven't gotten over the actual thing that you can read in the settlement. Some of it's in the settlement agreement, not actually in the operating agreement, but if every decision by the allocation committee has to be unanimous, all three of us have to do that when we go forward. And every decision so far to date has been. If we can't have a unanimous decision, which means either somebody in that group isn't voting for it.
You're used to cast the.
Actually, I think it's a little more complicated than that. If the two districts agree, then reclamation, as long as it's, not something that's not violates any of the agreement, they have to go along with the two districts. But the minute the two districts don't agree, we fall out and they get the
Veto power, or they get to decide.
They get to decide. They're the arbitrator, I guess, is the way to say it.
So,
I realize,
you're a pecan farmer.
well, I realized that pecan farmers have an ally after listening to this, so we'll talk a little later, Mike.
Okay. Well, you guys
Most of the pecan guys want water early, you
yeah,
know.
you need to make a decision today.
No, I understand that.
Our recommendation is that we release May 26th.
Right, May 26th.
Which would give us water in the El Paso vicinity around June 1st.
Is this the appropriate place to, do you need a motion to?
Yes.
No, let's
Well,
wait.
because we have not even done an allocation yet.
Yeah, I haven't even
Right?
gone through.
So I
He hasn't done
think this
far.
motion, if we want to do it, we can do it a little later.
Right.
After we've made it.
There's a item number
Number
Yeah.
10.
10 is when you do.
Yeah,
it.
so-
Let's get through the rest of these.
Okay.
So, Joey, we're gonna leave that, but we'll
All
come
right,
back.
we'll leave that one pending.
Yeah.
Item C, Robert and I have been working on scheduling the farmers' meetings that you all know are very important. So we've come up with a date. We've had a little bit of difficulty adjusting our calendars to include the sites that we utilize for the meetings, but we've come up with April 22nd, 1 p.m. at Texas A&M Extension Center, and then at 6 p.m. on the same date at the Canutillo Administration Offices at the school district. They're on our track.
The notices.
Okay, that's for the farmers' meetings.
Oh,
The-
that's
The,
farmers.
the small tract meetings, we've scheduled them a little later for May 27th at 6 p.m. at the A&M Extension Center, and then we're going to do the Upper Valley
Hopefully the Thursday,
the following day
yeah.
Okay.
Right now, Canutillo doesn't wanna commit that early to.
to their facilities.
You don't think one is enough for the Upper Valley or not?
No, because it's two different groups. We usually,
Completely.
although we get a lot of small,
Different,
yeah, we get a lot of small track at the farmer meeting, but then we get nothing but small track at the small track meeting, and that's, the majority of it is the alcaldes, which is important to Robert.
Okey dokey.
I know it's, and it's time consuming stuff, but we work out a lot of issues. We take the supervisors there, people have a chance to, voice concerns or bring out problems that they might have that we might be able to solve before the water gets here. So it's a good time to air all that out.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it's worked out good.
It's good, it's worked.
Yeah, keep everybody.
Warm.
So if you all are okay with those dates, I'd like your approval on those so we can set them in stone and send out the flyers.
We normally approve something like that? I need a- Okay.
You make a motion?
Make a motion?
Okay, I'll move that.
All right, thank you. And Mike seconds it.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, signify by saying no. Okay, you've got your dates, Julie.
Okay, thanks. And that's all I had. Unless you all
That's all you
have
got? All right,
questions.
looks like Al, you're up.
Okay, A and B, and to some degree, E, well, E's we'll have to go
D.
into litigation. D will have to go, is closed. So
D, E,
D
F.
and E and F are all closed.
Which one's A?
A, B, and C I'm gonna talk about right now.
Okay.
And I think A and B and number 10, if you wanted to, it's the pleasure of the board to go ahead and combine those two, and Robert's too, so we just stay on this allocation.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. That's
And
it.
then, so, maybe Sharon will talk about reorganizing the things so that all the water items that are on the agenda can all occur at one time, so that we don't jump around so much. But today, we're jumping around a little bit, so, let me give you Rio Grande compact accounting, and then we'll get Robert, some of his stuff, and we'll come back and talk about the allocation at the end.
Okay.
So right now, these numbers are of April 1, they're up on the screen, so total project story is 404. That's not usable water, but the compact credits are reduced this year. They under-delivered, and San Juan Chama, there's been some transfers, which work in our favor. Some of these transfers were for endangered species protection, putting water back in the river, so that keeps the river wet and makes the efficiency of the river up above Elephant Butte, from Albuquerque to Elephant Butte, a little more efficient. So that water was transferred on paper, which reduces it in the reservoir. That means that we have more usable water. That means it's a win for us both ways. So the total usable, after you take off the non-usable or the other type of water, is 384. We do expect that to go above 400,000. That will trigger a compact article allowing upstream storage. So once it goes 400,000, we'll see decreased flows in the river. So we're estimating, I can't remember, Dan, what's the estimate? It was sometime in mid-April, pretty quick.
Around the 18th of April.
18th, so.
Should reach
So that's,
400,000.
you know, we would have liked to seen that around July 18th instead of April 18th, because that means they couldn't interfere with what little snow runoff we're gonna get. But the snow runoff's looking so bad, I'll talk about that in a minute, maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But good, so good news, bad news. Good news is that, hey, we have 400,000 acre feet this year, more than we've had in a long time. Bad news is 400,000 triggers an article that allows upstream storage. So it'll reduce, but, you know, that's the deal that we agreed to in 1938, right? So, carryover, we had post-accounting issues and all sorts of inflow into Caballo was going on from fall runoff events, and very difficult to get it, but the good news is this year, instead of us being negative, we were all positive. 8,652 acre feet for EPID, 2,685 for us. We did reinstate. Last year we had sufficient deliveries to activate the American Canal Extension credit. As you know, we allocated that to the city, so that helped us. Without that credit, we would have been, 5,000 in the hole, something like that?
Right.
I think the credit was about 7,000 acre feet. So current usable, after that's all done, this year that could be allocated, remember these carryovers are already allocated. We're not gonna deallocate them. We're just leaving your checking accounts with the amount of money. Just because the new year came around doesn't mean they get to take the money out of the account and leave it in our account. So now we have the new audits come in, which is 364, 563, and we allocate that between Mexico, EBID, and us. Several years ago, I don't remember how many, Chew, do you remember, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? On the multi-year drought correction resolution?
4 years ago.
4 years ago, the board approved a extreme drought correction to the operating agreement. There's gonna be another resolution that'll come before you, probably next month, to amend that correction factor. It amends it in our favor. EBID's, you know, it's a mutual, it's good for both of us. It reflects the actual historic conditions that we agreed to under the operating agreement. So, but what that has to do is when you go into a drought, the D2 curve behaves differently than when you're coming out of a drought. And I know 400,000 doesn't sound like we're coming out of a drought, but for an extreme drought, it is the transition point. The operating agreement has two transition points, at 400,000 and at 600,000. At 600, things start behaving like a full allocation. At below 400, everything's a different set of equations. And in between 400 and 600 are transitional. So this is an adjustment from what was in the first agreement we did to them, our first resolution. I'll come back, but EBID's already put it in, so that number actually came up. Helps us this year. I'll show you how that helps us. So we end up with a gross, I'm not gonna go into all these equations, these are all operators, get to the bottom line, as you remember in previous years, the allocations were about the same, not same per acre, but the same, total amount for the two districts. Now we will actually get allocated more because the accounting for the groundwater losses, in New Mexico are more significant now that we're out of the transition. So it's working the way we intended it to work. So 128, so that's good. So everything's pushing us towards the next chart I'm gonna show you, which Robert and I and Chewy spent part of yesterday on. So we moved that 128, 176 up to our allocation, and we look at what our obligations are. Right now, we're looking at 95 days, is that right, Robert? Left.
Robert just walked outside.
Okay, right when I got to
You saw it coming.
He's like, so I'm on my own here. I don't know if that was, what that was about, but, so 95 days, then we have the effluent that contributes supplemental wells, we turn those on, gross supply. And unfortunately, efficiency in an extreme drought and drought conditions is, we'd like to run closer